We've discussed GSC Game World's Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl a lot, both before and after its launch. As the sequel to the beloved sandbox shooter franchise, one that was first announced back in 2010 before being cancelled and re-announced in 2018, it's been a long time coming, with reasonable amounts of hype. Returning to the Chernobyl exclusion zone and immersing in the anomaly-filled region, interacting with other stalkers, fending off mutants, and uncovering mysteries felt like a long time coming. That it looked so good and offered substantial improvements over the older games was also exciting.
The night back at the old bridge, you stole my scanner and gave me a hell of a headache.
That's horseshit, man. I ain't been back at the old bridge in a long time.
However, the technical aspects have left something to be desired though. Even after the launch with patches, there are still several bugs and performance issues. When the experience works, it's an engaging affair, one that's as oppressive as it is immersive. Seeing the zone come to life like this, whether it's the weather rolling in during a firefight or invisible mutants silently hunting before striking, is an incredible experience for fans. However, when it doesn't work and makes fans question whether a feature is even working properly or not, then there are some big problems, and nowhere is this more apparent than with A-Life 2.0. A-Life, for those who haven't played any of the previous Stalker games, is a system that affects the AI in the zone. Non-playable characters aren't just presenting detailed actions in front of the player, they also have schedules and effectively exist even if you can't see them. As lead programmer and creator Dmitry Lasanev explained in 2008 to AI Game Dev, it's like they have their own lives. You can essentially divide the system into two layers, online and offline. The former dictates everything that's happening in front of or around the player, while the latter is what's simulated in the background when the player isn't nearby. NPCs and enemies will then switch between these layers within proximity of the player. It's a staple of the older titles and what effectively made them so dynamic. Even if you played through before, there's no guarantee that the same events will transpire, thus adding to the replay value. With Stalker 2, GSC Game World promised a reimagining of sorts. The reimagined versions of the system, which we call A-Life 2.0, will control the state of the world and the behavior of characters and mutants, making the zone ever-changing and truly alive. Countless events and encounters will happen every moment, even if you're not around to witness them with your own eyes, it said.
S.T.A.L.K.E.R, we've got wardens here, a lot of them.
Goshna knows what he's doing, I'll give him that. Would you welcome our guests, Skiff? Jagger and I need some time to get off the stage.
The FAQ also called it a simulation system for life in the zone. Factions and mutants are fighting for living space, migrating, capturing new places, or retreating to safer areas. A-Life is what makes the zone truly alive and unpredictable. On the surface, it sounds like the evolution of a beloved system integral to the identity of the series as a whole. The good news, it's not missing by any means. The bad news, it doesn't currently work, at least not like it's supposed to. Post-launch, some players reported the AI scripting as being underwhelming. There's even a clip of NPCs spawning out of thin air, and even behind the player, as they're killed in rapid succession. Reports of GSC Game World removing mentions of A-Life 2.0 on the game's Steam page also didn't help, though it's still very much included in the FAQ on the game's official site. However, the development team seemingly noted spawning issues with A-Life in the Day 1 patch. The team's community manager would then confirm that the system isn't working as intended. It will have updates coming up to make it really feel like A-Life 2.0, but unfortunately, it's going to take longer than expected. The recent patch notes confirm the issues plaguing the systems will take a bit longer to resolve. How long exactly? The same community manager didn't have a timeline, only commenting on Discord that it would be addressed in future updates. While GSC Game World hasn't gone into the nitty-gritty outlining everything wrong with the current system, a modder named Chornobyl, who created the Roadside Panic mod to restore A-Life to the zone, did offer some explanation. They noted that the AI director is adversely affected due to severe bugs compounding each other. The A-Life grid vision radius is allegedly set quite low, about 80 meters, which means characters effectively don't exist outside of it. But what about the offline layer? Apparently, it's not even working. As the modder notes, the offline A-Life of the past games no longer exists. The director in this game has its own system to manage offline events outside the bubble range, except this kind of flat out does not work. While Roadside Panic attempts to restore it, it's very performance heavy and can result in NPCs with quests outright disappearing or towns becoming empty, necessitating a reload. As the modder notes, this is a stopgap measure until GSC fixes the underlying bugs with the AI director, or A-Life 2.0. Try at your own risk and all that jazz. Shipping a product with such a major feature in shambles would rightfully result in a fair amount of ire. Look no further than Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, which is suffering its own fair share of issues, not the least of which includes heavier reliance on cloud-based streaming of content. You could even point out how 2 out of 3 big console exclusives for Microsoft this season are buggy affairs and use that to criticize the publisher's state of affairs. However, Stalker 2's situation is different, not just because the studio is independent, but purely due to the hardships it's endured after Russia invaded Ukraine, with some development team members even joining the fight. Then there's the fact that it's faced cyber attacks, resulting in its test builds leaking and causing further strife. It's a brutal affair all around, and developing a video game in those circumstances, let alone one of this magnitude, just seems straight up impossible. Nevertheless, GSC Game World pulled it off and deserved all the credit. However, there is a school of thought which, though understanding the developer's predicament, still points out that this is a full-price game. Bugs and polish issues are one thing, but when an essential feature hyped up for so long just doesn't work, it's not a good look. Then again, even if it took an extra week to fix the bugs and launch a more stable product, A-Life 2.0 would still be in shambles. Also, without the feedback that a wider player base can offer, GSC Game World may not have ever even caught on to how extensive the problems really were, and you'd best believe that no one wanted the systems to work as intended as much as the team that created it. It's effectively a no-win situation for everyone involved. The only thing to be done is for players to effectively point out the issues and wait for the development team to fix them. Nothing more and nothing less.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Would you like some toast? I get it. You're angry. That's why you're not hungry and couldn't care less about the troubles of others.
Hey, did you know that we at GamingBolt upload new videos every day? Stick around, drop a like, subscribe, and hit that bell. And let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.